is here. According to our Adrian Wojnarowski, Kevin Durant's manager, Rich Kleiman, has told him that Kevin Durant has requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets.
Guys, I know it's not just me that is feeling some deja vu this offseason, because once again the Warriors were crowned NBA champions, and once again the league is in shambles because of it. And when I mean this is because of the Warriors, oh, it's because of the Warriors. Woj said it himself in reference to the KD trade request. I quote, "The Warriors winning a championship played a factor in this. I think it exasperated Kevin Durant's frustration. I think it's the narrative that surrounded him that he dealt with in the aftermath of him leaving Golden State and then going on to win a title without him, contrasted with what has gone on in Brooklyn in these last 3 years. But it's not just Kevin Durant that feels this type of way either, because we all saw the mega trade the Minnesota Timberwolves made for Rudy Gobert, giving up 5 first-round picks. Yes, 5 of them, which is crazy when 5 first-round picks can get you Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and other pretty talented players that we have seen the Warriors draft in the first round over the years. But then again, it is Minnesota. However, lost in all of this was this quote that came out. What the Timberwolves believe is that they weren't going to out-small ball Golden State. They're going to start big and they're going to stay big and see if the rest of the league can handle them. And that right there is what the Warriors are doing to the NBA. The Timberwolves aren't worried about the Clippers or the Grizzlies, definitely not the Lakers. They're not worried about the Lakers, but they realized they had to trade away every future asset they had, including a 2029 unprotected first-round pick, just to have a chance at beating Golden State, and they had to do so in a way that was so drastically different that they might be able to do it. And those aren't the only teams and players making huge future-altering decisions because of this Warriors dynasty being well and truly back. There are a few more, but before we talk about that, what are Golden State exactly doing to get better? Now, initially things did look a little scary as they lost both Otto and GP2, and a lot of those wings that I thought could replace them were getting snapped up off the market, but that's when the Warriors did what the Warriors do, and they signed Dante DiVincenzo for 2 years, $6 million, and that is a steal in every sense of the word. Because if we take it back to his last fully healthy season, which was only year 3 of his career playing for the eventual NBA champions, he averaged 10, 6, and 3 on really solid shooting 38% on nearly 4 catch-and-shoot threes a game, with an ability to do things like this off movement.
DiVincenzo lets it fly, yes!
But in addition to this, he's also capable of creating his own shot, shooting a really impressive 37.5% off pull-up threes. Just watch this right here. He gets the ball off the inbound. Thanasis comes to set a screen on Bo Cruz, and Dante quickly steps back beyond the arc for a 3. But it's more than just an ability to catch and shoot or shoot off the dribble. He can also get downhill and finish at the rim. He can playmake out of double teams created by the likes of Giannis and now Steph Curry. Oh yeah, and prior to his injury, he was considered one of the better defensive guards in the league. He's definitely no Gary Payton II on that end of the floor, but offensively, if you add him to Jordan Poole off the bench, that is a dynamic guard duo that could give you 30 a game as a bench duo. Along with that, you have Kuminga, Moody, and Wiseman, all young players that the Warriors are really focused on getting better this season, and there is some serious upside for this team off the bench. But just moving away from the upside and the more flashy free agency signing, the most important piece of the Warriors free agency wasn't GP2, it wasn't Otto, it wasn't DiVincenzo, it was Kevon Looney. Yes, the man who played all 104 games last season and was an absolute monster in the playoffs on the boards, which I don't need to remind you guys of. And in fact, I believe Looney was so good in the playoffs that he affected the market for DeAndre Ayton, and in particular the Suns' willingness to re-sign him to a max contract. Because when you see someone like Looney, who is now getting paid $8 million a year, having some games where he's almost the best player on the floor because of his rebounding and his ability to set screens and make plays, teams really start to question how much you should be paying for these centers, particularly when they're not going to be able to stop the Warriors on the other end of the floor, which is another issue for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But while we're talking about fraudulent teams like the Phoenix Suns, we might as well mention the Lakers and their pursuit of Kyrie Irving, because once again, this is related to the Warriors. There is no doubt about that, but I saw something really funny today. Just take a good look at this hilarious tweet that wasn't meant to be a joke. I quote, "The Warriors are really terrified of LeBron James and Kyrie Irving," clearly in reference to some of the reports that the Dubs could make a trade for KD, which for one, I don't see happening, but one thing I am certain of is that the Warriors are not afraid of two players that won a combined, 0 playoff games. A combined 0 playoff games last season. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The only reason the Lakers would trade for someone like Kyrie Irving, who has ruined multiple teams now, is because they are desperate. It's not the other way around. Let's get that straight. But let's forget about what other teams are trying to do for a second. I mentioned the Warriors' moves in free agency and how key it was to keep Looney and then also sign DiVincenzo. But there is one piece that I left out, and it's potentially the most important piece of all, and that is the development of their three young players in Moody, Kuminga, and Wiseman. Because there is no doubt with JTA and Otto Porter Jr. leaving, there is going to be minutes to fill, and minutes to fill at the start of the season all the way through to the playoffs, and I think Moody and Kuminga in particular are going to be relied on. And for some people, that might be frightening, but for me, I see that as exciting, because let's take it back for a second. Before getting iced out for most of the playoffs, Kuminga was one of the best rookies in the league post All-Star break, averaging 12 points and 4 rebounds on good efficiency, but it was more than that. His feel for the game, particularly on offense, was improving every single game, and he was starting to show off signs as a ball handler, a shot creator, someone that could get to the free throw line, and even some playmaking, like in this game against the Clippers, where he had a casual 21.6 rebounds and 6 assists. And watch this play right here where Kuminga emulates what Draymond has done his entire career out of the short roll, where he makes the right play to the cutting Moody, and he's so effective out of those short roll situations or pick and roll situations because he can get downhill and finish. If you sag off or if you press up, he can make those passes as well, and I only expect that to get better. And this is without mentioning what Moses Moody did in back-to-back games against the Dallas Mavericks, where he was a positive plus-minus in both and helped the Warriors seal the series win with a couple of plays like this.
Here comes Moody. Shot clock at 1. He's got to fire. Moody, 3. Another triple for Golden State.
And I expect the next big step in their development to come with them consistently playing 15 to 20 minutes a night, including those games against the top teams in the Western Conference from start to finish, and I have no doubts these guys will impact the game when needed come playoff time. And if you did make it to the end of the video, a like would be much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel. Have a great day. Bye.